we are thrilled to have with us for the next segment of the show recently elected NASCAR Hall of Famer Ricky Rudd. Ricky, does it ever get tired being introduced that way now?
No, not a bit. I love every bit of it. You know, I think because I really didn't know if that day would ever come. And, you know, to hear that, it's like, wait a minute, they're talking about me, Hall of Fame, wait a minute. It's in a lot of ways it doesn't register, but when it hits home, it's a big deal for me. It means a lot. It really does.
Yeah, listen, I'm just going to ask you where Linda is. Yeah, that's my. I mean, I just saw her. I saw you guys last Monday at Leonard's birthday party, Leonard Wood's 90th birthday party. Yeah. She and I must spend an hour talking with each other.
We go like 20 years, never see each other, and it seems like lately we keep bumping into each other. But no, and it's kind of funny because every time we go somewhere, you know, Kyle, when I see him, he says, "Hey, Ricky, how you doing? Where's Linda?"
That's right.
I want to talk to Linda.
We should talk, man. We talk.
We got nothing to say.
Talk about Landon. Talk about your family. Talk about but I will go back to this. Yeah, is you grow up and you want to you come out and you want to be a cup. Do you ever think about the Hall of Fame at that time? You drove for Bill Champion. I mean, a name that doesn't get brought up a lot. Right. That doesn't get brought up a lot. That's where you start from Bill Champion to the Hall of Fame. I mean. Put that in words.
Well, it's kind of hard to describe because, first of all, there wasn't a Hall of Fame at that time. You know, you grew up, you know, I grew up 18 years old. When I was 18, I was driving a Cup car. So it's, you know, your thoughts are just, how can I even compete against Richard Petty? Yeah. You know, I mean, you know, the heroes of the sport, and 18 years old. And you know, when I came in, it was a pretty humbling experience because I came from dirt bikes and go-karts to now, you know, I'm on the track with Richard Petty, David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison, Buddy Baker. I mean, the names go on. And I was so awestruck. I said, wait a minute, what am I doing here? You know, at the time, nobody was 18. Yeah. Everybody was in their mid-30s.
Yeah.
And so it was, the Hall of Fame was the farthest thing from your mind. You just wanted to, at that time, you wanted to learn how to drive a race car without spinning out and causing caution flags. And at that time, what was so nice about it is you could sort of learn on the job. You didn't have to, it wasn't as competitive as it is today. So, you know, all my training was on the job. I was never in a race car till I was sitting in a car at Rockingham, North Carolina. Yeah. So you were able to take your time. And my biggest thing was slow myself down enough. Don't put pressure. Learn how to drive these darn stock cars because they were so much different than anything I've ever raced before.
Ricky, I want to take pressure and tie it into one of your pretty big career accomplishments, and one of those that I'm sure influenced a lot of people to put you in the Hall of Fame. 16 consecutive seasons with the trip to victory lane. And yesterday at Kansas, we saw Kyle Busch, who's going to get 20 consecutive seasons. I think we saw the pressure on him when he ended up wrecking himself trying to put Chase Briscoe a lap down. You know, based on your experience and maybe going for 17 consecutive seasons, what kind of pressure is out there right now?
Well, I'm not sure. Kyle is just, he's got that winning attitude. Once you get that attitude, it's I don't think it's dictating that he's thinking about keeping a streak alive. It's probably not a big issue. He just wants to win. 50 races for somebody as good as him and a team as solid as his. You know, I think it just goes to show you how competitive things are today. It's just crazy how close these cars are together. Very little bit of separation between them. It's pretty amazing. But I watch these races and I look at them, and I don't watch a lot of them because I'm off doing stuff that you do, which is, maybe go to a coffee shop, and instead of, I do these boring things. I got my life sort of living it in reverse. I'm doing boring things now, but enjoying every bit of it. But the cars are so close. The races are so tight. Man, it'd be very frustrating. And, I'm sure Kyle would say the same thing. If you had to run today, as close as these cars are, it would get very frustrating. I don't know if I'd have the patience. I'd probably wreck in every race. I'd probably try to move too many people, then they would move me every time I got on the track with them, because these guys don't get out of the way. I mean, they're racing all the way through the field. They don't get out of the way.
I know you get asked things like this a lot, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. 2 or 3 of the toughest competitors, maybe not the best race car drivers you ever competed against, but 2 or 3 in there that you knew when you were racing with them, it was going to be tough.
2 names come to mind, and they had talent and they won races. Jimmy Spencer and Dave Marcus. That was my era. And Kyle could speak. And you know what? Kyle sometimes he would pick a race or two every now and then that he would. he would he'd get mean.
I could be an ass.
Yeah.
You can say it. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
No, he did. He wrecked me at Martinsville.
Martinsville, remember that? Oh, God, man.
But he didn't just wreck me, spun me. He did like I
wrecked him.
He wrecked me, but he turned me he hit me on the right rear quarter
Yeah,
panel, which
yeah.
is like that's
wrong.
That's a
wrong.
bad spot.
That's bad.
You
That's
hit
wrong.
somebody there, you're trying to kill him.
Wait, just another example that drivers never forget.
It's all fun and games now, but I know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, Kyle. I'm trying to figure out what did I do to you that
I don't
day?
even remember that day, man. But that's back to what you're talking about right now, where it's so close. And Martinsville was so close, so close. You could run, you'd run a 21:10, and I'd run a 21:12, and then I'd run a 21:0. So and the only way around was to beat and bang on each other. I want to ask you this, and because this is a fascinating part, because you brought it up, you learned on the job. We grew up and we came into this sport, and listen, you were my hero when you came in, because all I knew was Richard Petty and David Pearson and those guys, and they were already in their 30s and 40s and stuff. And here's an 18-year-old kid, and I'm 13, 14 years old, and this is what I want to do too. So I'm thinking, hey, man, I can start quick. But as you look back, and I've said this before, Rick, Penske, all these guys, Hall of Famers, Junie Donlavey. What did he mean to your career?
Oh man, that's Junie Donlavey is not a Hall of Fame car owner. He should be.
Yes.
Maybe he will eventually. But when I came to drive, it was a family-run operation, family car, and we did great things for what we had to work with, and basically it taught me how to drive a race car. My brother built the engines, and my sister did PR. I mean, it was a family-run operation, but we ran out of money, and about the time it was like, what do we do next? Because we're out of money, and everybody was tired. We worked, I wouldn't say 24-hour days, but we
Close.
worked. I remember falling asleep on a creeper at night. I remember Linda bringing out pizzas to our shop, sitting it on a Goodyear tire, and pull up another tire, and we'd sit there and eat pizza, and then I'd go back to work. So it was pretty brutal in those early days. But then about the time our family deal went as far as it could, Junie Donlavey gives us a call, and he was in Richmond, Virginia, only about 100 miles away. But Junie was a brilliant man. He had a racing operation that ran mainly on volunteer help, and he would run in the top 5. I think he won a couple of cup races, and but Junie to me was a driving instructor. It's not just an owner. Junie would go up on top of the truck, and he would teach me how to drive a short track, because I only driven 2 or 3 short tracks, but he had the likes of working with great modified drivers, local drivers like Sonny Hutchins and Ray Hendrick. Names that a lot of people wouldn't know today, but they were the greatest around in the day on the short tracks, not necessarily cup level, but the division just below that. So, and there was a thing he taught me, working the gas and the brake at the same time. Sports car guys call it trail brake, but it helped the car get rotated and turned a little bit quicker and let you get back to the gas a little bit quicker. You're talking, inches and feet. But Junie Donlavey helped me understand that concept. And I was a left foot braker. A lot of guys in that time were right foot brakers. And I was told, you don't know, you can't brake with your left foot. You got to be a right foot braker. You wear your brakes out.
Wear your brakes out.
Yeah, but Junie Donlavey coached me through that. And a left foot braker to me in that time was an advantage in that era.